Barry, Nick Hamilton, Nightcast Media. I wanted to ask you, just as the director, obviously, kind of guiding this film and making sure that everything is where it's supposed to be, but primarily want to ask you about some of the actors that you had the pleasure working with from this dynamic cast. Aaron Pierre, Beyonce, and Seth Rogen. Uh, how are you able to see them in these characters and be able to have their voices give these characters life?
Yeah, it was dope. I didn't have to see him, and that was like one of the best things. Again, Beyonce's used to using, I don't know, she uses multiple tools, but the voice is her primary tool. One of the big when the voices happen in this movie, it's the very first thing. There's no art, there's no sort of like sets. It's really just telling a story with voice, and because of that, everything's possible. And so I tried, you just named Aaron, Beyonce, and Seth Rogen, very different performers, and they do very different things. You think with Seth, who's always working with Billy Eichner, it's all wide open. We're improvisation, improvisation, improvisation. I try to do the same thing with Beyonce, to be honest. That last scene in the film, I remember telling her, I know it's the Lion King, but put a little more Houston on it. When she says, "Baby, I'm right here and I'm fine." And so it was like I was just trying to have fun with everybody, no matter what the tone of the scene was. Aaron's got to do a lot of heavy lifting. He's playing this person who we know is going to become so great, so supreme. And yet, because of what happens to him earlier in the film, he's literally afraid of water, which is like a crazy thing. I don't know if you've met Aaron Pierre or seen him in real life. This guy is like larger than life. There's a reason he was named a character mid-sized sedan. And yet this person has to make themselves very small, very unsure. And so working with the actors in the very beginning of the process when it was wide open, it was really fun, man. We all tried to sort of not be beholden to, what does the scene begin and end? It was more about like, what does it feel like and what else can we bring to it?
But you know what? Excellent job, and I love the way you brought Blue Ivy in as Kiara. That was pretty slick too.
You know what she did? I was so proud of her because the movie takes so long to make. Like what you're hearing is not the Blue Ivy who was on the Renaissance tour. It wasn't a Blue Ivy at the premiere. This is Blue Ivy as like a 9.5, 10-year-old person, And again, working with Dr. John Connie, who's one of the most seasoned performers. This guy's done, like Shakespeare, everything, New York, Broadway, South Africa, the whole deal. Um, and she's in scenes with him, and she's absolutely holding her own. My again, because it's a meritocracy. If you can convince me with your voice, you got the part. But when children go into the movie, they're gonna be looking for themselves somewhere in the film. And this character, Kiara, is literally the child in the movie who's listening to this story, who's witnessing the story of this great ancestor. And for whatever reason, again, I don't know Blue well. I've met Christina a few times. I can see where that ancestry is coming from, but she was so prepared and she understood what was happening in those scenes. I think she gives a really wonderful performance.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much.
Thank you.